Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse, and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode, it's a really exciting one. We've got our first full patch notes as to all the changes coming to the game in terms of gameplay. So, we've already had a look at the one looking at the economy breakdown, the change of the business model that came through yesterday, and today we've finally got the patch itself and also the patch notes as well. So, we're going to have a look through those, talk a little bit about it, and see some of the changes in game as well. So first thing we've got is Zax's Story Early Access 1.1 patch notes. So some of these I'm going to skip through a little bit quicker than I have done previously. We don't need to read every single word on this. I'm going to give you sort of the gist of it and give you an idea of what is going to be coming through and just basically try to work our way through to the exciting parts. So the first part we got here is that the Zax story is going to be up on the platform as soon as the patch is, which is currently now. So we've already had Extilio's story. I've really enjoyed that. Zax has so far been my favourite character. I'm really looking forward to playing that as well. So absolutely keen to hear about that. We can already see from this little clip here that Crankbait's going to be showing up in that as well, which is absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to giving that a listen. The last one was, like I said, excellent. I'd recommend you listen to it if you haven't done already. It's great to do while you're painting. Next, we've got a new map. So an all-new Cholak map, which Eagle Eye players may have already spotted in some of the early promotional material. This is something a few people have been mentioning. They've spotted it in some of the early, exactly that, the early promotional material, the trailers, that sort of thing. It looks beautiful. I mean, look at these models here. I love the Cholak design anyway, and this is really encouraging for this. Then also addressing a ton of feedback received from the community. So two of the major changes going live with this are an update and an overhaul of Astra, allowing for more counterplayer matches against her, as well as removing some of the randomness during matches. So everyone who's been playing the game at least fairly consistently knows that Astra has been a bit of an issue, and that's absolutely something that needed to be addressed. And then the randomness, it's a sort of a player preference thing, but in general, the community lean towards wanting a bit less randomness. So that's something that, again, initially I was a little bit skeptical of, but even just looking at the Discord today, the feedback has been incredible as to these changes. It's been so positive, so I feel really excited about where this is going from here. So, for Astra, undergone 3 major changes. Her passive ability is now called Onward, so when she destroys a crew, it'll refresh her move, and that's basically instead of reinforcing. So reinforcing's gone from the game. There's no additional value from Astra on that front. It probably means Toxoid is going to be a little bit less common, still going to be useful in terms of taking out a unit, but you don't get that, free unit every single time you use it. So that's going to be a sort of a slight change to Astra on that front, but a very functional one. Next, we've got Grow Cinder. So this is a big change, and it's quite exciting. So it grows a Cinder Sphere, maximum of 3, which allow any captain or crew to gain 1 Cinder when touching the sphere and then destroy it. So this here is very, very interesting. Now, the initial version of this that we saw, the Grow Cinder, the Cinder actually increased every turn for 3 turns up to a maximum of 3. The way this is written, to me, implies it's only ever going to be 1 Cinder. So it's basically storing Cinder for a later turn rather than actually growing the Cinder from there as well. So it's possible that it may be different in game. We'll have a look at that at some point as well. But again, really big change. It stops the oppressiveness of Astra just getting free Cinder every single turn, and there was no reason not to use it. Now, it's got a bit of a cost to it, so that's a really, really interesting. It's more like banking a 3rd Cinder. If it can grow, then that's excellent. That's something that, gives that early game ramp a bit of use. We'll have to test it out and see where it goes from there. So that's something we'll be looking at fairly early on. And next, sorry, where were we? There we are. 2 Cinder ability is Into the Breach and has been adjusted. And when used, the next crew deployed during that turn will gain charge. May be given orders immediately, but only if their base is touching Astras. So one of the things that's really, really amazing about this, and I can't believe I even get to say this, it is absolutely amazing to me. So when we first playing this game, talking about this game, there was a section where we're in the Discord and people were talking about Astra and sort of how to make changes to make her a little bit more fair. And Charlie Cleveland, who's the head of the studio, came in and was asking discussions about Astra and how to play Astra. And I will So I'll put this up and you put this in the video towards the end just to show it, but there was actually a discussion between myself and a couple of other members of the community about how to change into the breach. And this wording here, maybe given orders to me, but only if the base is touching Astras, is almost word for word what my suggestion was as to how we could change the into the breach ability, because we were discussing how to make sure it wasn't done at range to give that extra reach, and how to basically limit it to not just removing all kinds of stun as other stuns become popular. At one point, it was looking to remove stun in an AoE around it if anyone touching, and this is almost exactly word for word what I suggested. And I want to make it clear here: this is not me that's made this decision. As much as I would love to claim it, this isn't me that's made a change to the game, but it shows that the developers listen. They've been listening to feedback from myself, other members of the community, and they've filtered through all of that. Like I was saying in the Discord earlier, I probably make one good suggestion for about every 100 suggestions I make. The talent isn't in me making random ideas up, it's in someone else being able to find out where the good ones are and how to sort of benefit from that in terms of the game. And this is absolutely something that they devs have taken from these conversations and implemented. I'm so excited about this. I'm really pleased to know that I've had my own little impact on this game because I really love it, and so I really, really am feeling more and more invested because of it. But I just wanted to highlight that as an inclusion as to how interactive this process is in early access. The devs really do listen, even to someone just like me. I'm just a gamer. I don't have that expertise, so absolutely get involved with this community. You won't regret it. To address some of the randomness, so this is something we knew was coming as well. The bridge is changed completely. All of our units will now be on the bridge at the beginning of the game. It means you can actually plan your strategies ahead. And it also, as you can see a little bit further down, the rosters have been adjusted from 10 crew to 8, not including a captain. So all your current rosters will just lose 2 units. That's pretty reasonable. We're going to be rebuilding them anyway. But the reason this is exciting is that now you actually get to really plan strategies. So it's not just about who draws the right units at the right time. You can plan what you're going to do turn 1. You can plan what you're going to do turn 2. One of the things I've been thinking about is, do I want to play a 2-drop unit and then a 4-drop unit? Or do I want to play a 1-drop, a 2-drop, a 3-drop? So again, you get more units out with one, probably more powerful out with the other. It's really, really interesting. A lot of people have said they think Maximus is an auto-include in every list, but I'm not so sure. I'm sure there'll be ways of addressing that meta. If it is, fair enough. There's other 1-drops as well that can be played that fit in different synergies, so really, really interesting on that front as well. Additional balance adjustments have made to a handful of units and ship assists, which you'll see detailed below in the full changelog. We know about some of these, but some of these may be different. We're not quite sure yet. And we can't wait for you to dig into all of the changes, play on the new Cholek map, and learn a lot more about Zax. So, the big patch notes. Some of these we've known from yesterday's video. We've got removed pulsars, removed boosters, renamed merits to sparks, disabled the store, and here we've got the new map we just heard about earlier, the new audio drama. Replaced blanks and boosters in season track with sparks, decal packs, and profile images. So this season track is really interesting now. So we're going to have a look at that in a moment as well. There's a huge, huge change. It was an issue. We knew it was being addressed. There was a lot of people worried about the amount of XP it took in order to get up there. So now we've got a really big change on that front, and that's really, really exciting. Then we are moved on to increased camera rotation. So this just gives you a few more options at looking at things on the map, which is really nice. You don't let that lovely artwork people have come up with go to waste. So that's always exciting. And then we've got crit chances displayed more clearly. So I'm not sure how that's going to be, but I'm interested in seeing it. Gameplay. Remove the concept of reinforcement and drawing throughout the game. It's gone completely. We knew about this, we just discussed it. Here's the changes: the bridge size from 10 to 8. Existing player constructed rosters have the last 2 units removed to ensure they remain valid. Rework bridge display for units to improve readability, sorted from low cost to high cost. I really like this. Hopefully this will do the same in lists at some point as well. But again, making it a little bit clearer is excellent. And then converted UI for max crew and bridge to a bridge that shows how many crew are ready to deploy. Again, I like that as a little UI change. These things are going to need to adapt as they go to figure out what works. So excellent. Reworked Astra to have more counterplay. Ranged units always hit close targets within range 1. So that is going to be quite a big change. It means you no longer have to be in melee range, but there have been other things to reduce the effectiveness of ranged characters as well. So they've doubled the effectiveness of soft cover and unit blocking on accuracy. So swings and roundabouts, we get a bit of range units get a little bit better closer without having to necessarily get hit back, but further away they're worse. Seems completely fair to me. Reduced maximum crit damage from 3 to 2. So I didn't even know that this was a factor in the game, but a maximum crit damage of 2 is nice because critting is something that is quite contentious. Some people like it, some people don't. But a 3 damage unit critting going to 6 seems a lot. Whereas going to 5, it's not just going to one-shot those cheaper units. So again, I think this is quite a nice change. Critting, I like the idea it can go up to 2, but it doesn't need to always be that high. Rework ship assists. So, and it says specifically ones that had no counterplay. Orbital is now just on a delay. 3 damage to all units, cooldown lowered from 4 to 3, but it's in the following turn. So this is more of a zoning tool now. There will be times when you can use it as a damage tool, but it's around things like you need to use snareling, or you need to trap them in place, or use jailbreak as a sacrificial character to sort of hold people in there. There are ways of using it, but it's more of a sort of a zoning tool now. Cinder Infusion now gives Infused, so you gain 1 Cinder every turn if a character is infused, and you give a target allied crew infused for 3 turns with it. So the way that reads is basically you pick a crew member, and you have to have crew on the battlefield to use this if I'm the way I read it, and every 3 turns, so every turn for 3 turns, you gain 1 additional Cinder. I like that change. It also means that it's got some counterplay. People can focus down that unit if they need to. Plink. So Plink is now a very aggressive choice in your assists. It's no longer just deal 1 damage or heal something. One of the things it does is choose a unit whose health has changed this turn. If friendly, restore 1 health. If enemy, deal 1 damage. I know these say 0, but it does actually function as 1. So what that means is you can no longer just heal units if you haven't either already healed them or they haven't taken damage back from an attack. So it incentivizes aggressive lists to pick it because you need to be trading attacks or damaging enemy units in order to damage them. You need to with the Plink. So Plink is no longer just a you take it every time it shows up. It's going to be a consistent pick for aggressive lists, but maybe not so much for defensive. Stowaway, change your lowest cost undeployed crew to a new one that costs 1 more. So there is a condition of this, and that is it's temporarily disabled in this update due to a known issue, but it'll be re-implemented in a future update. I'm really, really excited for this. This is my favourite of the new assists, so I'm slightly sad it's not in this version, but they know what they're doing. They've taken it out because of an issue. It will come back when it works. That's the right choice to make, but I'm very excited to get to use that when it comes into play. Corrosive particles, this is a huge change. Reduce radius from 5 to 2, an 83% reduction. So if this is the same reduction as I think it is, that is going to be a very, very big difference. You're not going to be able to hit 4, 5, 6 units every single time. So I'm interested to see how this works. I think Corrosive was very strong anyway, especially with things like Maximus being very popular. So we'll have to see how that functions. I think it will probably still be useful, and no longer having the Corrosive Orbital thing is probably good for the game in general. Broken Vengeance, so has lowered his attack to 3 from 2, but increased his health from 7 to 9. Less offensive, more retaliations. So he's going to function the same. It's not quite the unit that I was really enjoying playing before because I like being able to trade him off, but against a lot of things he is still going to be able to do that. So he's more of a sort of, not defensive, but more of a sort of a value unit now. Before he was, you could run him into melee range of a melee unit, just hit them, trade back and forward. Most units in the game, you win that trade and you kill them. Whereas now, it might not necessarily be the case, but with 9 health, you've got ability to sort of take a few more hits and things like that. So I quite like that. It's not too bad. Switchback. So Switchback was the end game damage dealer for most lists. Rapid fire only lasting for 1 turn is absolutely the right choice. I mean, everything lasting for multiple turns was a big plus as it stood because it's only one cinder investment really, and then he's slow. The slow lasts for 2 turns, so you're not as safe. You've got the damage, but which is the same, but you don't have it for next turn, and you're still slow. And then you've also got high cinder investment because it's 2 cinder every turn if you want to use the rapid fire. Torian Bodyguard, so I'm not sure if the name has changed, but before it's Torian Guardian, but I think this is maybe just a previous version of the name. Decreased attack from 3 to 2 to focus on protection. I'm fine with that. I love Torian. I think it's a fantastic unit, one of my favourites. I do think that 2 damage is probably more appropriate than 3. I mostly use them as a protective unit anyway. Perfectly reasonable. Looking forward to giving that a try. Peacemaker Balam, lowered cinder cost from 4 to 3 for more value. So I agree with this as well. Peacemaker Balam was very expensive at 4 cinder for a unit that doesn't have any damage. Utility is great, but I think 3 cinder is about right. Detonia increased ability range by 12.5%. It's not a huge change, but I think it might be enough as the cheapest AoE sort of unit in the game. I think this might be worth it. Vortex Beam, range 3, radius 3. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that's referring to. Maybe it's an ability that I've missed. I'm not quite sure where that comes in, but we'll have to have a look. Cargo Run. Simplified and improved booby-trapped igniters, so we've got to change to that. I don't know what it is, but at least it's changed. Disabled Golden Arc, obviously no longer a mechanic in the game, so there's no point in reinforcing. Impact munitions to push further and also work for melee units. So this is an interesting one because with melee units, it means there's no fight back. So that's actually a really nice change to that for Cargo Run. I'm going to enjoy that one. And then added unique models for different types of cargo. This is another suggestion that was posted in the Discord. I can't remember who it was, but basically people were talking about you should be able to identify what was in each of the cargo boxes by looking at them. So this is another change that's going to come in. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Base game changes, remove boosters, we knew about that. Grant players access to all units, we knew about that. Remove pulsars, sparks instead of blanks, replace pulsars with other content, 30 bug fixes, Korean rating screen, Korean excessive use warning, various log requests, and bugs. This is a really, really interesting set of changes here. I'm really keen to give it all a go. What I'm going to do next is just switch into the game and have a look at a few of the different things that we get to experience firsthand. Hello again. So just wanted to quickly show you the feedback and sort of the interactivity of the devs. So this is a conversation we had, you can see here, on the 14th of October. So this patch has come out on the 28th or 27th. So this is myself. I was wondering, is there a specific reason Astra removes stun rather than giving a unit charge? And then explaining where I've seen it relevant. The response here was interesting. You might be right. Giving charge actually fits better and does just what she's designed to do. Just so you know, this conversation is just a few clips taken from a much longer conversation, but just to give you the idea of it. So here is a technicality, but giving charge after the unit is spawned wouldn't remove stun. So the suggestion was maybe give charge to the lowest cost unit on the bridge. And then we moved on to the idea was moved on to that it's then RNG again and no planning. And so I then mentioned, or maybe the next unit cast, but then we had the reach issue again of basically Astra being able to play something out of range of Astra and then charging from that point onwards, getting at extra distance that was causing a bit of a problem in the first place. And my final suggestion here was the next unit you play gains charge if placed in contact with Astra. I did say it was wordy, but fills the need, I guess. That is almost exactly what has ended up becoming the new second ability for Astra. I can't believe how much the devs have really listened to these suggestions. Like I said earlier, I'm not the one trying to take any credit for this whatsoever. The devs have done all the work, they've done all the coding, they've figured out that was something that lined up with what they wanted. It's more just me. This wasn't the only idea I threw forward. I've put forward loads of different ideas on this topic. It just happened to be that one of them seemed to be the right one. So honestly, a big thumbs up to Charlie and the dev team. I can't begin to tell you how much confidence I feel in them. And this isn't just, my suggestion. Like I said, the loot boxes in Cargo Run, they were suggested by another member of the community. Over and over again, we're just seeing community suggestions come into play in the game itself, and I couldn't be happier. So really happy to see that support. Welcome back. It's now time to look at some of the in-game changes that have come with this new patch. So we've got quite a few to look at, so it's going to be a little bit of a whistle-stop tour. We're not going to be rushing through it too much, but I'm really excited to see. First of all, we need to look at our collection, and we're going to start with Astra. So, Astra here, grow Cinder Sphere, so maximum of 3. Captain or crew that touch Cinder Sphere, gain 1 Cinder, then destroy it. So to me, it does sound like these are the ones that don't grow. One of the ideas we saw previously was going to be the ones that grow and gain more Cinder each turn. Now it is just a way of banking additional Cinder for future turns. I do like this. I think this is a really interesting concept because it means sort of if you're saving up Cinder from early turns, you can then save up another turn. Basically, you can save Cinder in more ways than just the Cinder you bank between turns anyway. So I think that's a really interesting change we've got there. We've got, like you can see here, when we've got the new passive of Onward, and we've got the new Into the Breach. Next crew you deploy this turn, touching Astra gains charge. Excellent, really excited with that. The next thing to look at, I haven't actually looked at it yet, but I'm going to skip that. In fact, I'm going to skip one and go to a different one as well. So, Zax Jakar, you can see I have looked at this. This is the new Zax skin. So this is what you get for the Founders Pack. It's Zax and I believe it was Slopper. Zax and Slopper, there we go. This thing is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. There is not much I can complain about this. I did say that the only thing I wanted was something called Slopper to have a giant tongue. Just felt like it fitted. However, Slopper being like a rat kangaroo, like biological mechanical hybrid is amazing. And I love just even the gun is amazing. I really, really like it. Zax being alive, for one thing, I'm really curious as to where this comes from. I'm imagining it might be related to the story before he passed away. And if you look, just to keep it in tying in with the game, we still have the mines here as well. So this is a beautiful piece of skin. I'm really excited to use that. I have put all my effort into making my monochrome Zax here, which I was really keen on, but now I'm just going to have to make something all over again. So that is exciting in itself. Like we said, we've had a couple of changes, so things like Torian Guardian, we've got the reduced attack, so we can all see these are taking effect in the game as well. Again, switchback, and there are changes there. The next big one that we need to look at is the season track. Now this is a huge change. The thing to bear in mind is that some things have moved up the track, so we've got the new sparks here. We've got new metallic paints, so these weren't even in the entire thing before. These are brand new on top of the ones that are already in there. And we've got a few other things added in as well. So like I said, on 16, we've got an entirely new decals pack, which is beautiful. I'm trying to see what else we've got here. So this was Gloomside Exterior. Yep, we've got that. And then we've got things like Switchback. So one of the things I want to stop here for is that rank 28 is where I was before this patch hit. The patch has hit, the season track has changed. I am now at the end of the season track. I've completed it. I've done every single thing on there as well. Also, I love this. But that just shows how big of a change they've made to the XP required. I was probably not even halfway through in terms of XP. I've now finished the whole thing. This is not a big time investment, to get to this point. Anyone who plays even vaguely regularly will be completing this entire season track. We've got a second set of metallic paints, and now the last thing to look at is Deathbot Exterior. So this is another thing of beauty. That is an amazing skin. So we actually have now got a skin for each of the captains. So I didn't look at this previously because I haven't actually clicked on this and looked at it in person. That is excellent. Even his face, the different face style, is beautiful. And I love a little glowing core as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Lots more painting to be done. Lots more exciting changes. I can't believe how much has come in this patch. We've got so many things to work through. We've not even gone into games and looked at the assists. I mean, just for the sake of it, we'll pick a a versus AI game and just see if they come up on the front screen, see what we can get, and just try and get our head around all the different things that are coming into the game. I'm not going to PvP because I'm not going to play a full game. I just want to see the select screen and see a couple of the different ones. Here we go. All right, what have we got? Yeah, here we are. So we've already got 2 of the different ones here. Start your next turn, deal 3 damage to all units in the area. Give allied crew infuse for 3 turns. This is so exciting. As someone's just pointed out in the Discord of Chaos Theory, in fact, escape hatch is now incredible because you also get to create your list and you know exactly what your most expensive unit's going to be when you pick this. So we can concede this, but just as a quick sort of idea on that front, if you have a list, so I'm going to go into one of my favourite lists anyway, and just have a quick look, and we can basically see exactly what our first drop would be on escape hatch on turn 3 every single game. So have a look at our roster. I'll just pick my Meta's Axis, one of my favourites. So in this list here, either Furia, Floria Lancer, or Switchback would come down on turn 3 every single game that you get that. And if we sort it by Cinder Cost, we can look around. You could add something like Quetzali as the most expensive unit if you're playing a really aggressive deck. You can make sure it's Switchback, Defense Dome. Like, it's amazing the flexibility you get with list building, just knowing that putting one unit one more than the rest gives you the option of escape hatch being an amazing assist for you. So all in all, I couldn't be happier. I'm really, really curious to see how this goes. I've got a lot of games that I want to play and try out and have fun. I want to try the new Astra first and loads of other things as well. I can't wait to get stuck into it, and hopefully you can't either. So if you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really, really do love getting these notifications letting me know these sort of things are happening. I check them every single time it comes through on my phone. And other than that, have a good day.